morning, everybody. Welcome to the Bridging the Gap, Opening Doors for Veterans, our weekly television series that we talk about positive news stories and impact to the local community that the military and veterans in general are doing to really support the outreach that we love about our country. And today it's a special day because we have two special guests in the studio with us. They're going to talk about the Vietnam Veterans of America. And I want to welcome both Ernie Diorio and Richard Gough to our show. And I'm so glad that you're here in station as well. It's a pleasure to meet you again and have you here and talk about Vietnam Veterans of America. But with that being said, you know, there's so much about Vietnam Veterans of America. It's a national program and national organization, and it's been around for a little while. And you're doing some amazing things, and I want to get into that, you know, of some of the things that you're doing. But before we do that, I want to learn a little bit about yourself as well and share to the audience a little bit about your military background as well. Ernie, you want to talk about a little bit of your background?
Sure, Mike. Originally, I lived in Brooklyn at the time. I was drafted at 1967, and I served with the 25th Infantry Division in Vietnam from 67 to 68. I was with a mechanized infantry unit.
So you saw action?
Yes.
You saw action during that time frame, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Rich?
Well, the only action I saw was at the bars. My name is, by the way, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
My name is Rich Gough. I graduated in June of '63. July of '63, I was at 17 at boot camp for the United States Air Force.
All right.
I served 4.5 years, 2 years in SAC up in Maine, and then 2 years over at the 441st Combat Support Group at Yokota with TDY to Thailand and Vietnam.
Yeah. So during that era, you got to experience, you know, some of the things that we know about today of that war. And welcome home. That's the first thing I'd like to say, because it's important that we recognize the Vietnam veteran era and the men and women who did a lot of sacrifice for that. 58,000, I believe, plus died in that war. Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Yes.
But you know, so you know, Vietnam Veterans of America. Can you tell me more about the organization itself, at large?
Well, Richie was one of the founding members of Chapter 12.
Okay.
So he can actually give you the beginning to now.
On the broad side, Vietnam Veterans of America is a national organization, federally chartered organization.
Yep.
Here in New Jersey, Chapter 12 was the first chapter in New Jersey to be established, actually out of Asbury Park, and it was established basically by a number of veterans who had no place to go, nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
As a result of that, rap sessions basically, Chapter 12 was created. Yeah. That was in 1982. I wasn't a charter member, but I joined about 2 years after the charter.
Oh, okay.
So 1984, I believe it was. We have expanded from that time of about 25 members to now we have
365 members.
365 members, yes.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Is there an actual post itself?
We do.
Like a VFW post or American Legion?
We work out of a VFW post.
You do?
We've been there for years.
Okay.
They're very good with us. That was 21, was it 21, 26? 22, 26, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, post.
Yeah.
Right.
So, so when we see things on TV across the country from different posts or different chapters that the Vietnam Veterans of America represent, they're always in the forefront. They're always doing good things. It's amazing to, like for instance, with motorcycles as an example. I think you Band of Brothers get together, I think, every year for that. I think the Thunder Ride, right?
Rolling Thunder.
Rolling Thunder Ride, yeah.
Was that established from Vietnam Veterans of America?
There is an association there because probably most of the members of Rolling Thunder are Vietnam veterans and probably belong to Vietnam Veterans of America at one point.
At one point in their career.
At one chapter or another.
Yeah.
Our motto, our national motto is never will one generation of veterans forget another.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we work with all veterans.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and
So chapter 12 is out of Oakhurst,
yes.
and it's, like you said, been around for a little while. And you get a lot of different things that you're doing, that you share with me already, from different outreach things that you're involved with, like the cremains, as an example,
Yes.
Can you go more into some of the events and some of the things that you're doing from that chapter?
On cremains or
Well, just in
basically
general,
everything?
what that chapter's involved with.
Sure, Ernie, I think
Well,
you're mostly involved with a lot
Yeah,
of that.
Chapter 12 is a very active chapter
Yeah.
in the state of New Jersey.
Yeah.
And our president, Dennis Beauregard, he's developed a lot of programs with us. I'm first vice president with the
Okay.
chapter. And we do wall washing at the Vietnam Memorial in Homedale.
Yeah.
We partner with
You
Home
actually
Depot.
go to the
We actually
clean
go
it.
there and help Home Depot partners with us.
Yeah.
And they help us wash the wall and everything twice a year.
Okay.
We have what do you call it, our school education program, which is called Vietnam Experience.
Yeah.
We've done this over 20 years.
Yeah.
We go into schools in Monmouth County,
Yep.
and we present a whole table loaded with artifacts from Vietnam. We explain to the kids about this program, and it's
Yeah.
a great program. They love it. And
Yeah.
each year we get more and more. We do between 15 and 18 schools a year.
That's fantastic. They
Yeah.
get a hands-on
Yeah,
and meet
And the
people
kids
who.
do. The kids are excellent.
That's
They love
fantastic.
it. They love
Yeah.
it. They some great questions for us also.
Yeah.
And we took guitar for vets with post-traumatic.
Yeah.
We have a fishing program for post-traumatic. We have horses for post-traumatic.
Yeah.
And we've done hospital visits. We also help veterans with claims.
Yeah.
We'll hook them up with service officers.
Yep.
We help them get into the VA system, the health system, because a lot of guys don't know about
Yeah.
what type of benefits they get. You
That's
can't
so true.
believe how many individuals, especially Vietnam veterans, that do not know
Yeah.
what they're entitled to this day.
I deal with careers, mostly in my career, helping people find a job and coaching them. And you're absolutely right. A lot of people don't know about the resources that are available, that these various organizations can provide.
It's funny, Mike, because as much as we are involved in a lot of things,
Yeah.
we always find out about new things.
Yep.
Especially being involved with the Sheriff's Department now in Monmouth County,
Yep.
with Sheriff Golding, and we're finding out more things, different organizations, and which helps us out, and we help them out, which is great.
It's a coalition, if you will, of
Yes.
organizations that band together to really do some good stuff and really help a lot of people, a lot of veterans and their families as well. What's a good website that people can learn more as well? I want to plug a website for you guys.
Well, our website is in the making.
Or Google it. What's a good way to reach you?
Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 12.
Just Google that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it'll show a lot of different things that we're doing. We're working on our website right now,
Okay.
so it should
Work
be
in
up and
progress.
running within a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd like to expound upon one of the programs that Ernie discussed was Guitars for Veterans.
Yeah.
We have chapter members who can teach. We also provide a free guitar to the individual if he's willing to or wants to learn.
Yeah.
The only thing
Oh,
we
that's
ask is if he decides that he doesn't want to be part of the program anymore, that he donate the guitar back to
Yeah.
the chapter so
Yeah.
that we can give it to another veteran.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And you don't have to have any experience. I've been
No.
doing it for about 8 or 9 months,
And he still
And
has
learning
no
and I
guitar.
still
experience.
don't know.
Is it just guitar? Can you learn another instrument as well?
Yeah, it's basic guitars, but we also have a vet band
A
that
vet
actually
band?
plays all over the area.
Wow, that's
You know,
fantastic as
and
well.
it's all fellas with
Yeah.
post-traumatic.
Yeah.
They've learned how,
Yeah.
through music,
Yeah.
and they do very good.
That's-
They played at Manalapan Day.
Okay.
They've done quite a bit of
So
work in the area.
we're going to have a beach bash in Belmar
Yes.
on September 7th. We're going to be talking, hopefully we'll talk
yeah.
more about that as far as maybe
and
getting a
they
band.
work for food, Mike.
Yeah, and it's food, there's plenty of food that's going to be there for free.
Good food.
I know another thing that's near and dear to your heart is the cremains program.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's one reason what we're going to talk about today is all the incredible things that you're doing around that. And so can we, in this first segment, can we just highlight a little bit more about an overview of the cremains
Yeah,
and,
I
and the
think so.
involvement?
What I could, Richie is our chairman of our cremains project, and you start off, Rich.
Okay.
How's
thanks. Sure.
Good.
Basically, what we do with the Cremains Project is we contact local funeral homes. Most funeral parlors or funeral homes have anywhere between 20 and 100 cremains that have either been abandoned and or forgotten.
Yeah. So these are cremains. These are bodies that have been in a box. It's
Correct.
cremained.
When a family dictates to the funeral home that they want the body cremated, it has to be sent out, and then once it's cremated, it comes back to the funeral home.
Okay.
Funeral home contacts the family and says that your loved one is here.
Yeah.
In too many cases, the next of kin is in North Carolina,
Yep.
Is somewhere else,
Yep.
and they don't get picked up.
Yep.
Some sit there for 30, 40 some years.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing to learn about this.
Sure.
That this goes on.
Yes.
And then, of course, all those years go by, and they're sitting there.
Sure.
So I really want to get into this a little bit more detail, because I think the public needs to know about all the great things you're doing around this, and share that with us after we come back from the break. So we'll take a 3-minute break, and we'll be back to talk more about the cremains and then what the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 12 specifically, is doing today to do a dignified burial as well.
Great.
We'll be back.
Coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away. 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no obligation Medicare benefits consultation. 856-226-4800.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to create a better visitor experience.
Improve our workflow.
Attract new customers. That's when Fast Signs recommended Fleet Graphics.
Yeah, now business is rolling in. Get started at fastsigns.com.
What do I want to be when I grow up? Maybe a musician? A veterinarian? Maybe an equestrian? A mommy? Well, why not be all these things and more? Consider joining me, Dr. V, with friends and colleagues as we explore a wide range of topics together. V is for variety, here on RVN TV.
There you go, Richard. Oh! Is that too hard for you?
No. Is it too hard for you?
Woo! We're playing catch now. Oh, shit.
Why should you choose Rowan College at Gloucester County? Low cost. The #1 nursing program in all of New Jersey. More than 70 programs of study, including selective admissions. With record enrollment. A premier partnership with Rowan University. Transfer options with numerous universities. 4-year degree options on our campus. Rowan College at Gloucester County. Now you're thinking.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind the scenes footage, previews, and more.
highlight military stories and community impacts. And again, we're going to continue our conversation with Ernie and Rich regarding the Vietnam Veterans of America in Chapter 12 and all the great things that you're doing, and talk more about the cremains program. I know just learning about it from our last segment, and now as what I know about it from talking with you and working with you, you really made a lot of impact to families on that. And can you share with us some of the stories, or a story that the impact you had on finding a service member, and
Sure.
what happened?
What we do is, when we get the cooperation from a funeral home, we can do it one of two ways. They can provide us with the names and the death dates of their cremains, or we can bring in a 3 or 4 man team to do an inventory. Once we find that, get that inventory, we then start researching to see who are veterans, who are spouses of veterans.
Yeah.
In one case, we found that a woman in Ocean County had died. She was cremated by her attorney, and her attorney left her laying on the shelf for 30-some years.
30-some years in
30-some
a
years.
funeral parlor, in a basement, in a
Right.
closet, in a shelf.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, in our research, what we found was her husband had been killed in World War II. She had him buried at the National Cemetery in, I believe it was Farmingdale, Long Island.
Okay.
At the National Cemetery. She at the time lived in Long Island. After as time goes by, she moved to New Jersey, never remarried.
Okay.
And of course, nobody knew what her intentions were when she died. It turns out that his records at the funeral home, at the cemetery, clearly showed that his spouse, her, was to be buried with him, interred with him when she passed away.
Yeah.
Nobody knew that. So after 30 years, we found out that that's where she was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Ernie then took her. We gave her a brand new urn.
Yep.
And Ernie delivered her over to her husband at the cemetery there, and actually left a few stones, I believe, on the.
Well, what happened was, Richie said, I said, Rich, I go out to that cemetery all the time. My in-laws are buried there, so me and my wife go out there occasionally. I says, I'll take her out there, no problem.
Yeah.
And I dropped her off at the place in Farmingdale, and I went to see her husband's grave. Now, he's been buried since
45.
45.
World War II.
Yeah.
Exactly, no family.
Yeah.
So I think me and my wife were probably the only individuals that went to see him after all these years.
Yeah.
Then I said to him, basically, I says, now you'll have your wife with you.
Yeah.
After all this time.
That's amazing.
It's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding.
And there's a lot of research that goes involved with this. So it's just not the two of you. You have a team.
No,
Yeah.
yes,
You know,
And the whole process, there's a legal process too for us to take control. The whole process takes about 2.5 to 3 months.
dealing
from
with
start
the
to finish.
state, dealing with
Cemetery.
dealing with
Yes.
funeral directors and so
The
forth.
VA.
The
We
VA.
have to
What
prove,
teens,
we have
you
to
know,
prove that
everything.
they're veterans and or spouses of veterans.
Yeah.
So
It had
it's,
to be honorably discharged
Yeah.
also.
yeah.
And talk more also about, you talked about the urn and it being delivered. You make those urns, right?
Well-
Or you make the boxes that
Yeah.
are, they're
We do.
transferring in?
Here's how we work. We partner also with Home Depot with a
Okay.
grant. Home Depot gives us a grant, and with that money, we buy all the materials that we need. And then we have a workshop that's in Covered Bridge in Manalapan.
Okay.
A couple of guys do the work for us, and they build us these urns, and they come out beautiful. So it's a great partnership.
It
with
really is.
community, veterans,
really is.
and they're so willing to help us all the time, stuff like that.
That's incredible. And I know with the Monmouth County Sheriff, Sean Golden,
Oh.
and his support, now you have an honor guard on call,
Right.
ready to go, on a moment's notice to support any any kind of ceremony.
It didn't always start out that way. Our first probably burial was maybe 8 or 10 of us from the chapter, buried 3 individuals. And since that time, we've just gotten better and better. We partnered up with an organization, national organization called Missing in America Project, who mentored us on how to do certain things, how to get around the legality of certain things. And so at this point, we have, in the last 3 years, I would say, we've buried almost 70 veterans and spouses, and actually returned about 20 to 25 back to their families. Who, let's say, the grandchild or a sister didn't realize that they weren't picked up.
That's incredible.
And all of a sudden they get a phone call after all these years that grandpa, uncle, your father, somebody's there.
It's emotional. It gives me chills just listening to you guys talk about
It's very rewarding, too.
It really
You
is.
can't believe, we've had people get mad at us at first and say, how blame us.
Yeah.
And once we explain to them what happened and how it happened, they're our allies now.
Now, with the funeral parlors and the funeral directors, what is that interchange like? What is that challenge like?
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Because, they feel that, I think that there's going to be a lot of work on their part, and they're running a business. They don't have time to take the time out to help.
Yeah.
And what we try and explain to them once we can get in the door is that we do it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, speaking of that, we have some pictures that we wanted to bring up, if we can. Maybe you want to give us a little walkthrough on some of these?
Certainly. That was one of our ceremonies. We buried, I believe, 7 or 8 veterans and 1 spouse at the Brigadier General William C. Doyle Cemetery in Wrightstown. Those are the urns. Those are the original urns that we started to use that were donated to us by Missing in America Project.
I see. Okay. Now we'll go to the next slide.
That's the Monmouth County Sheriff's Honor Guard, along with our chapter member, Donnie Davison, who calls the commands during the entire ceremony.
Okay.
He's a retired ex-DI, I guess you call.
Oh, fantastic.
That's just a number of our chapter members who...
So you have a full force of attendants that come out?
Oh, yeah. We usually have, of our chapter members,
Yeah.
we usually have 15 or 20.
Oh, okay. Next slide.
That's Ernie down in the basement of one of the funeral parlors that we were working with. Those in front of him are some of the unclaimed cremains that are still sitting out there that have never been picked up.
Now, is that what I'm seeing now? Is that all veterans, or is that a mix?
No, that in fact, in that bunch, what we found was a nun, which we kind of got that taken care of, even though we're only allowed to touch veterans.
Yes.
But we rounded that out. Unfortunately, in that group of about 120 cremains, we also found about 10 children, which is very depressing for us.
It is. It is.
But I wish we could do everything for everybody.
Yeah, I know.
But we just can't.
What
Legally, we can't.
What happened was, when I was with Richie, I'm going through the cremains, and you pick up the boxes, and there's some weight to them. All of a sudden, I pick up one box, and there's no weight to this. It's
very light.
Not realizing they'll say baby doe, or Jane Doe, things like that. It's a shame.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of
So
them.
you get emotional as well.
Oh, of course.
When you're,
baby.
Two things happen. We get very emotional, and because we can't do something for somebody. But on the other side, when we do find a veteran, we become kind of emotionally attached. And when we do the research, we're not just dealing with a cremains box. Now we're dealing with an individual who actually served, went through the same kind of boot camp we went through. The entire, there's a bond there. And you actually, when you start to do the newspaper research to see if they were drafted to prove that they were veterans, you kind of get a whole history of this indivial. So you become almost his brother.
You're right. You feel like almost like a family member.
Yeah,
You
you really
you
do.
find out some really interesting things about the veterans.
Yeah, I bet.
That,
So
it's good.
So you have Home Depot support.
Right.
You got member support, volunteers that are coming out from the VVA, Chapter 12. How can the public help? Is there a way for the public to help?
Well, we've gotten the cost down for a burial from about $250 per person down to about $20.
Okay.
With the donations and with we have other donations if we need to buy a birth certificate.
Yeah. Because there's got to be
certificate.
administrative costs that you're going through.
There is some.
You know.
And the death certificate can cost up to $25.
What about opening and closing the gravesite?
No.
Well, that's
all.
done by the military cemetery,
okay.
which is a state cemetery.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all free of charge.
There's no cost for that.
Right. The other costs that we have involved, actually, we have two bills in the Senate and the Assembly right now that would allow us. The law in New Jersey only allows us to take veterans. We have a bill in the Senate and the Assembly that will allow us to take spouses and eligible children. It will also allow us to get a death certificate from the state at free of charge.
Oh, wow. Hopefully.
Unfortunately, the Senate bill went right on through. The Assembly bill has been sitting in there since April of 2017,
So it's been
2018.
2018.
2018,
Yeah.
almost a little over a year.
Okay.
And the ironic thing about it is that the chairman of the Military and Veterans Affairs is one of the co-primary sponsors, and it's still sitting in there. We don't understand it. But
so we
that's
need to knock on his
politics.
door.
Well, exactly. And you say, if we need help, those are the things we need help in.
Yep.
We need help in getting into the funeral parlors.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
I didn't
know,
miss.
that's-
I didn't mean to get away from your question. But
Oh,
yeah.
no, but it ties in nicely, because it all feeds in,
Yeah. So the biggest issue we have is, as Ernie said, is that getting the funeral parlors to recognize the fact that they don't have to do anything. We do it all. And the only time they see us is if we do the inventory, and then when we come to pick up the cremains and transfer them to the new urn and deliver them to Arlington.
Geographically, how far do you go out?
We do right now, we're pretty much tied in with Ocean and Monmouth County.
Okay.
We'll expand a little bit, but the biggest problem we have is that there's a lot of transportation back and forth to the surrogate's office, to the different areas for records.
And given that, the county clerks, the surrogates and so forth, they're all supportive of you.
Oh, absolutely.
Big time.
That's good.
Absolutely.
That's
First
good.
name basis.
And this is all volunteer work.
Yeah.
We don't take a penny for
Yeah.
this. But we don't mind. We love doing it.
This is
This is,
incredible work that you're doing. We're about to wrap up, and I wanted to just give you an opportunity, if you can, just to say again, where can they find more information? People who are watching our show, what's the best way to reach you? If they want to volunteer, if they want to donate money, what's the best way?
Well, our names are up there, so they
You
can
call.
call me or Richie,
Sure.
and we can explain the situation. We can explain everything to them,
Yeah.
and let them know, what we need, help. If they want to help us with a bill, they want to help us getting into a funeral parlor.
Yeah.
We love it.
That's
We
fantastic.
would also be very willing to, if we have another chapter or another organization that would like to get involved in their area, we would certainly meet with them, give them all the information we have,
Fantastic.
teach them, and train them how to do it.
In another county.
Absolutely.
As an
Absolutely.
example.
See, people don't realize, Mike, this is across the nation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
This is not just here in New Jersey.
That's why I'm amazed.
Every state has
Yeah.
abandoned veterans left in funeral parlors.
Wow.
And people do not understand this. This is why we're trying to get this message out to the people, to let them know what's happening to veterans left in funeral parlors.
Well, I want to thank you both for being on the show, because this is such an eye-opener conversation about veterans who are getting a dignified burial, finally.
Exactly.
Finally, by the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 12, for all the great work that you're doing to do this. And I would like to offer to our audience that this is the kind of impact that we see in our communities that are making a huge difference. To know that a loved one can now be sent home in a way which is so honorable is an incredible level of effort that you're doing. And I thank you for being on the show today, and I really appreciate your friendship as well. I look forward to working with you.
Oh, great.
And having you back on as well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for having us the first time.
And
Can I just say one thing,
absolutely.
Mike, before you finish up? I like to have the people look at our YouTube, Forgotten Vietnam Veterans, and see exactly what we do, and you'll get a better idea of what we're talking about.
Give them the address, because we don't have a general phone number.
Okay.
So, but we do have an address that they can mail if they have information or they want information, which is 276 P.O. Box 276, Allenhurst, New Jersey, 077.
19?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's why you're looking at me, I wasn't sure either.
We'll leave it at that note. So thank you again for watching Bridging the Gap, Opening Doors for Veterans. We look forward to our next show next week at 11 o'clock, and have a great weekend.